For years, Ike's earliest memory was the time when he was 6 and he stuck 2 of the fingers on his left hand, the pointer in the middle, into the spinning spokes of his fat mother's stationary bike. The memory went something like this. Ike, who was never particularly precocious tot, and who had grown up to resent that word, had been sitting beside his furiously piddling mother, cross-legged and facing the bike. In front of her, the TV. He'd been wearing only one sock. Later on, when telling the story, he was always sure to include that detail, while at the same time, never really being sure why he remembered it, or why he repeated it in the telling. He found himself drawn, not all of him though, just his eyes. His eyes had found themselves drawn to that stationary wheel, spinning round and round and round, whizzing by just inches from his ear. He became mesmerized, both by the spinning and the soft buzzing sound, round and round and round. Suddenly they stopped, and his mother was screaming. Then he remembered bandages and the stinging smell of medicine and the oft-repeated question of just what exactly he'd been thinking. His father sighing disgust into his beer. His mother sobbing and blowing her nose and jiggling and wobbling and blaming herself. His older brother, Donald, standing in the corner and watching the whole ordeal without so much as blinking. His classmates from daycare making sympathetic noises at his face and then smirking and giggling behind his back, even though there wasn't anything particularly funny about the accident. But he never really knew the answer. That was always the biggest hole in his memory. He could never remember just what, exactly, he'd been thinking. There would always be people in his life who would ask him if he could sometimes feel the 2 lost fingers, because they'd read somewhere that after people had things like limbs or digits amputated, they could feel an occasional itch, or a throbbing pain in the missing flesh, and then they'd look down and see it's still gone. Phantom pain, they called it. I tried to feel that sometimes. He'd close his eyes, or look away, or both at once, and then focus. Just focus. As hard as he could.